At our baby naming ceremony, my Emile told the crowd, "I hope she takes after her father and not her." I was still healing from a complicated birth. My husband looked at the floor. I walked outside, so I wouldn't cry in front of the guests. 3 years later, when she asked to be honored at our daughter's preschool grandparents' day, I gave the teacher a list of who not to let in. Her name was at the top. 3 years ago, I was still healing. Not just sore or tired, healing. I just had an emergency C-section that went sideways. I lost a lot of blood. They had to knock me out at the end because I was shaking so bad. I barely remember holding my baby for the first time. Everything felt foggy. I was sore for weeks. Couldn't sit right. Couldn't laugh. Couldn't cry without pain shooting through my stomach. So when we planned a small baby naming ceremony, I asked for one thing: keep it simple and peaceful. It was supposed to be just family and close friends in our home in Glendale, Arizona. Mark, my husband, was excited. His mom, Sharon, offered to help plan it. I didn't want her involved, but I was too tired to fight. I said okay. I regret that more than almost anything. The day of the ceremony, the house was full. People were smiling, taking pictures, saying how beautiful my daughter was. She really is. She's got big brown eyes and a little swirl of hair that never lays flat. I was standing by the fireplace holding her, my legs trembling from the pressure of standing too long. My sister brought me a chair, and I sat, smiling through the pain. Then Sharon stood up and tapped her wine glass. Everyone turned. "I just want to say how grateful I am to be part of this special day," she said, all smiles and fake warmth. "It's so wonderful to welcome this beautiful little girl into the family." She turned to look at me, then said it. "I just hope she takes after her father. And not her." A few people chuckled, like it was a joke. A few looked down. Mark just stood there next to me, quiet. I looked at him, waiting for him to say something. He didn't. He stared at the floor. I felt my face go hot. My throat tightened. I handed my daughter to my sister and walked outside through the back door. I didn't want to cry in front of everyone. I didn't want to lose it. I sat on the back steps. I could hear the clinking of glasses inside. People laughing. I felt like I wasn't even part of it. Just some afterthought. Later that night, Mark told me, "She didn't mean it like that." I told him I didn't care how she meant it. He didn't defend me. He never talked to her about it. She never apologized. And over the next few years, the digs kept coming. She'd say things like, "Well, she's lucky she got her father's nose," or, "Maybe next time you'll bounce back quicker." I kept my mouth shut. I stayed polite. I never said anything in front of my daughter, but I remembered. 3 years later, our daughter's preschool had a grandparents' day. Parents were asked to send a list of grandparents who would attend. Kids would make crafts, take pictures, sing songs. Sharon asked if she could go. I smiled. "Oh," I said, "I'll talk to the teacher." And I did. I gave the teacher a list. Not just who to invite, but who not to let in. At the top, in bold, "Do not allow Sharon, last name, on school property." So the day came. Grandparents' Day. It was a Friday morning in March. Sunny. The school had decorated everything with crayon drawings and construction paper hearts that said, "I love my grandma and grandpa." The kids were buzzing with excitement. Some were already dressed up in their Sunday best. My daughter wore a yellow dress with white flowers. She picked it herself. I packed her a lunch and gave her a big hug before she ran off into the classroom. Mark didn't ask about Grandparents' Day. He probably forgot, or maybe he assumed Sharon would be there. She didn't live far, just 15 minutes away. But I knew she'd try to come. And I was ready. The school director had the list I gave them. She was a firm woman, polite but sharp. When I emailed her, I explained that there had been ongoing family issues, and for my daughter's emotional safety, Sharon should not be allowed in or near the event. I told her Sharon had a pattern of undermining me, insulting me in front of others, and that I didn't want her near my child if she couldn't show respect. The director didn't ask too many questions. She simply said, "Understood. We'll make sure only approved individuals enter." At around 10 a.m., I got a text from the teacher. Your list worked. She showed up, and we turned her away at the gate. She wasn't happy. I stared at the message. I didn't smile. I just sat there, phone in hand, feeling the weight of 3 years lift just a little. Then came the storm. At 10:12 a.m., my phone rang. Sharon. I didn't answer. Then a message. You're sick. Do you know what you've done? Your daughter was expecting me. I brought her a gift. She cried when she didn't see me. Except that was a lie. I asked the teacher later if my daughter said anything about expecting Sharon. She didn't. She never even mentioned her. Mark came home that night in a mood. She called me crying, he said. You embarrassed her. I laughed. For the first time in years, I really laughed at something Sharon related. I didn't embarrass her, I said. She did that to herself 3 years ago. Mark got quiet. He knew exactly what I meant. He didn't fight me on it. He sat down, rubbed his face, and said, Maybe you're right. She kept texting that weekend. Long messages about how I was tearing the family apart, how I was cruel, how I used my daughter as a weapon. I didn't respond. She started calling me the gatekeeper. Damn right I am. You don't get to insult a new mom in front of a room full of people, mock her while she's still bleeding and bruised from bringing life into this world, and then play Grandma of the Year 3 years later like nothing happened. That door is closed. But you think that was the end? Not even close. Keep reading because things were just getting started. 2 weeks after Grandparents' Day, I got a call from the preschool. It was the director again. Her voice was calm, but I could tell she was annoyed. I'm sorry to bother you, she said, but Sharon showed up again this morning. She tried to drop off a bag at the front desk. Said it was for your daughter. I felt my chest tighten. What was in it? I asked. Just a plush toy, some candy, and a framed photo of Sharon holding your daughter as a baby. I asked her to throw it away. Later that day, Mark brought it up. He said Sharon told him she was blocked from seeing her own granddaughter and was just trying to stay connected. Maybe she's trying, he said, sounding tired. Maybe we should give her another chance. That set me off. Another chance? After what she pulled at the naming ceremony? After all the comments? After lying and showing up uninvited? He shrugged. She's still my mom. And I'm your wife, I snapped. I almost died giving birth to your daughter, and your mom used that moment to humiliate me. He didn't have anything to say to that. The next week, things got worse. I went to pick up my daughter from school, and her teacher pulled me aside. She mentioned something strange today, she said. She said, Grandma Sharon said Mommy won't let her love me. I felt sick. Sharon had clearly found another way in. I pressed my daughter gently about it at home. She didn't say much, but I pieced it together. Sharon had met her outside of school, probably at the park. I remembered that I saw Sharon's car parked near the entrance last Thursday, but I brushed it off. Now it all made sense. She was stalking her own granddaughter. The next morning, I drove straight to Sharon's house. Mark was at work. I wasn't going to wait anymore. She opened the door, all smiles. I figured you'd show up, she said like she'd won. You stay away from my kid, I said. You go near her school again, or try to sneak around like this, I'll get a restraining order. Her smile dropped. You're not the only one who loves her. Maybe not, I said, but I'm the only one who's ever protected her. She called me names. Said I was jealous of her relationship with my daughter. That I was bitter. Controlling. That my daughter would hate me when she grew up. I left before I did something I'd regret. Mark and I fought that night. He was caught in the middle. I told him flat out, if she shows up uninvited again, I'll file. That's it. I'm done playing nice. He cried. Said he didn't want to lose me or his daughter. I told him then and there, this family only works if we protect each other. Not if we keep pretending his mother hasn't been poisoning it from the start. He agreed to go no contact with her. Said we'd take it step by step. We even started couples therapy. For a while, things were quiet, but Sharon wasn't finished. 2 months later, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside was a printed blog post about me. A full-blown rant, calling me abusive, controlling, a manipulative gatekeeper. She didn't use my name, but the details were obvious. She posted it online. I found it later under a fake name. And guess what? She'd emailed the link to my boss. This wasn't over. She wanted war. So I gave it to her. Want to see how far this went? I printed the blog out. Every page. Then I brought it to our next couples therapy session and laid it on the table in front of Mark. "This is your mother," I said. "This is what she does." He skimmed through it, his hands shaking. She'd twisted everything, called me unstable, said I had a history of isolating Mark, even hinted that I was neglecting our daughter. All lies. It was like watching someone smear filth on a painting you worked years to make. Mark sat there stunned. "She sent this to your boss?" the therapist asked me. I nodded. "That's defamation," she said. "And stalking." Mark didn't speak for a full minute. Then he looked up and said, "I think we need to call a lawyer." That was the moment everything changed. We hired a family lawyer to draft a formal cease and desist. It was hand-delivered to Sharon's house. The letter laid out every incident, the comments, the school incident, the online post, the stalking. It stated clearly that if she attempted to contact me, my daughter, or Mark again, we'd pursue a restraining order. She ignored it. Instead, she printed the letter, scribbled lies across it in red marker, and mailed it back to us, along with a photo of her and my daughter from years ago, torn down the middle. That was enough. Our lawyer filed the paperwork for a restraining order the next day. The court date was scheduled for the following month. I didn't sleep the night before. I didn't know what Sharon would do. Would she show up crying? Would she twist it all? She showed up furious. Told the judge I was unstable, that I'd turned her son against her. She played the victim like a pro. But I came prepared. I brought the emails, the messages, the blog post, testimony from the school director, even the voicemail where she threatened to make sure everyone knows what kind of mother I was. The judge didn't buy her act. He granted the restraining order for 2 years, with a clause that extended to our daughter. Sharon screamed in court. Mark sat stone-faced. That night, he didn't say much. Just held our daughter a little longer than usual. But here's the twist. A week later, his sister, Rachel, called me. She'd stayed out of everything until now. She asked to meet for coffee. I hesitated, but I went. Turns out, Sharon had been doing this for years. Rachel told me stories. How Sharon drove a wedge between her and her college boyfriend. How she'd ruined Rachel's wedding plans so badly that Rachel eloped in secret. How Sharon told her husband, Mark's dad, that Rachel wasn't fit to be a mother after she had a miscarriage. Rachel had gone no contact 5 years earlier. "I thought maybe she'd changed," she said. "But I guess not." Then she handed me a folder. It was full of letters. From Sharon. Crazy, threatening letters. To Rachel. To her old boyfriends. Even one to her high school teacher. "I thought you might need this," Rachel said. And she was right. Because Sharon wasn't done yet. She was already planning her next move, and this time, she wasn't just coming for me. She wanted custody. Want to know how far she really tried to go? When I heard the word custody, I laughed out loud. At first, I thought it was a bluff, a scare tactic. But Rachel warned me. She did this to a cousin once. Tried to claim the mom was unfit just to get access to the kid. She'll go there if she thinks she can win. 2 weeks later, the letter came. A formal petition for grandparent visitation rights. Sharon was suing us. She claimed I was keeping her granddaughter away out of pure malice, and that our daughter would suffer emotional harm without her. She painted Mark as a silent hostage, me as a cold, manipulative woman. She called herself the only stable female figure in my daughter's life. She was coming for my child. And in a messed-up twist, Arizona actually allows this kind of case, especially if the child had a relationship with the grandparent before. Sharon was banking on pictures from the first year, old texts where I thanked her for baby clothes, even birthday cards she sent. We had to fight it. It tore our family apart. Mark was humiliated. His own mother trying to use the legal system to control us. To rewrite history. He finally stood up, publicly. He wrote a letter for the court calling out her behavior, the years of verbal attacks, the stalking. He admitted he should have spoken up sooner, and how his silence helped her get this far. I wasn't perfect either. I let things slide. I tried to be polite when I should have been firm. I didn't push Mark hard enough to cut ties after that ceremony. I avoided conflict, hoping she'd just fade away. I let my guard down. But not this time. We countersued. Our lawyer pulled Sharon's online rants. Emails. Voicemails. The school's testimony. Rachel even agreed to speak in court. The judge saw a pattern, not just a controlling grandma, but a woman who lashed out when she didn't get what she wanted. It took months. Thousands of dollars. Stress that nearly broke our marriage. But in the end, the court ruled in our favor. Sharon lost everything. No contact. A 5-year protection order added. Her case was labeled harassing and unfounded. Her lawyer dropped her. When the judge gave the ruling, Sharon shouted from the back of the courtroom, "You'll be sorry. She'll hate you one day for cutting me out." I turned to her. "No, she'll thank me," I said, "because I protected her from becoming like you." That was the last time I saw her. But here's where it ends. 6 months later, I got an email. Anonymous, but I knew it was from her. One sentence. "You stole him from me." She meant Mark. She never saw that he was the one who walked away from her. She never took responsibility for anything. Not one word of regret. Not a single apology. We moved out of Arizona last year. Started fresh in Oregon. New jobs. New school. My daughter is 5 now. She doesn't remember Sharon's face. She just knows we don't talk about her. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I spoke up at that naming ceremony. If I had called Sharon out in front of everyone. But honestly, I'm glad I waited. Because what happened over those 3 years. This wasn't just revenge. It was justice.
Slow. Quiet.
Ruthless. And this time, she had to watch it fall apart.
Piece by piece.
By her own hand.